There is a gap that quietly separates the life you are living from the life you are capable of living. It is not a gap of talent. It is not a gap of intelligence. It is not even a gap of opportunity. It is the gap between knowing and doing. Think about that honestly for a moment. You already know what you should be doing. You know you should be moving your body. You know you should be reading, learning, growing. You know you should be working on that goal you keep pushing to the back of your mind. You know. You have always known. And yet, here you are. Still waiting. Still planning. Still telling yourself that someday you will begin. This is not a criticism. It is one of the most human experiences that exists. But it is also one of the most quietly devastating. Because every day that passes in the space between knowing and doing is a day your potential goes untouched, your dreams go unlived, and your future goes unbuilt. Here is the truth that changes everything. Your life does not change when you learn something new. Your life changes when you do something new. Not when you understand it. Not when you agree with it. Not when you feel inspired by it. When you do it. When you translate the thought into a movement, the intention into an action, the plan into a step. Because ideas alone will not change your life. Plans alone will not change your life. Good intentions, no matter how sincere, will not change your life. Action does. We need to talk about one of the biggest lies most people believe about success. The lie goes like this. I just need to feel motivated, and then I'll start. It sounds reasonable. It feels reasonable. But it is quietly destroying more dreams than failure ever could. Here is what actually happens when you wait for motivation. You wait on Monday because you're tired from the weekend. You wait on Wednesday because work was stressful. You wait on Friday because you deserve a break. You wait on the weekend because it's supposed to be rest time. And then suddenly it's next month, and then next year, and you are standing in the exact same place, with the exact same dreams, the exact same excuses, and a growing sense that time is slipping away. Motivation is not a foundation. It is a weather system. Some days it shows up bright and powerful. Other days it doesn't come at all. And if you have built your entire pursuit of success on the condition that you must feel like it first, you have built on sand. Think about a farmer. He does not plant seeds only when he feels inspired. He does not tend his field only when the mood strikes him. He works because the season demands it. Because the harvest does not negotiate with his emotions. Because nature rewards consistency, not enthusiasm. Your life works exactly the same way. The most successful people are not always the most motivated. They are the most consistent. They act on the days they feel alive and unstoppable. And they act on the days they feel exhausted and uncertain. The difference is not how they feel. The difference is that they act regardless of how they feel. And here is the insight that changes everything. Action creates motivation. Not the other way around. You do not wait to feel good and then begin. You begin, and then you start to feel good. The energy comes after the first step, not before it. The clarity comes after you start moving, not while you're sitting still. The confidence comes after you do the thing you were afraid to do. So stop asking yourself, do I feel like it today? Start asking, is this important to my future? If the answer is yes, you act. Not because you're motivated. Not because conditions are perfect. But because your future deserves it. We are tempted to think that transformation requires dramatic moments. A single bold decision. A massive leap. A complete reinvention overnight. But that is not how real change works. Real change is quieter. It is slower. And it is far more powerful than any single dramatic gesture. Success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Read that again. Not once a month. Not when you feel ready. Every day. One extra page read. One workout completed. 1 hour invested in your future instead of consumed by distraction. One promise kept to yourself when no one was watching. These actions do not feel significant in the moment. But they are. Because they compound. Think of it this way. Money placed in an account with compound interest seems to grow slowly at first, almost invisibly. But over time, it builds upon itself, and what began as a small, almost insignificant deposit becomes something extraordinary. Your habits work exactly the same way. Reading 10 pages a day doesn't feel powerful on day 1. But on day 30, you've read an entire book. On day 300, you've read 10 books. In 3 years, you have read more than most people read in a lifetime, and the knowledge, perspective, and clarity that comes with it will have quietly transformed how you think, how you decide, and who you are becoming. A single workout doesn't transform your body. But 300 workouts, taken one at a time, that is a different life. One focused hour on your goals today doesn't build a business. But one focused hour every single day, without exception, for a year, that is momentum. That is progress. That is a life-changing direction. What you do every day matters infinitely more than what you do occasionally. Nature understands this. A tree does not become tall overnight. It grows slowly, quietly, consistently, day after day, season after season. Until one day people stop and admire its strength. But that strength was being built long before anyone noticed. Long before anyone was watching. Your life is growing the same way. Whether you are feeding it or neglecting it, it is always growing in the direction of your daily choices. So choose carefully what you do with your ordinary days. Because your extraordinary life is being assembled from them, one at a time. Let's talk honestly about excuses. Not to shame you, but because excuses are so comfortable, so familiar, so reasonable sounding, that most people never even recognize them as the prison walls they truly are. I'll start when things calm down. I just need a little more time to prepare. I'm not in the right headspace today. I'll do better next week. These thoughts don't announce themselves as excuses. They disguise themselves as wisdom, as self-care, as patience. But beneath the disguise, they all lead to the same place. Delay. Stagnation. A future that looks identical to today. Here is what discipline is, and it is perhaps the most important definition you will ever hear. Discipline is the ability to make yourself do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. Whether you feel like it or not. That phrase is where ordinary people and extraordinary people permanently part ways. Because feelings are temporary. Moods shift. Energy fluctuates. Enthusiasm rises and falls. But your goals, your real, meaningful, life-changing goals, they do not care about your mood. They do not pause for your bad days. They do not wait while you recover your inspiration. They simply sit there, patient and unmoved, waiting to see what you will do. And every day you choose discipline over comfort. Every day you show up when you don't feel like it, do the work when it feels hard, keep moving when everything in you wants to stop. You are building something far more valuable than a skill or a result. You are building character. And character, once built, does not leave you. It does not depend on circumstances. It does not require good conditions. It travels with you, into every challenge, every opportunity, every season of life. Discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect. It is telling yourself, I believe in my future enough to honor it today, even when today is hard. There is a quiet enemy that does not attack loudly. It does not come with warnings. It does not announce its presence. It simply whispers. Tomorrow. Later. Not yet, just a little more time. And we listen. Because the whisper sounds reasonable. Because tomorrow always feels like it carries the same possibility as today. Because delay feels safe, like we are simply choosing a better moment, not surrendering the moment we have. But here is what procrastination actually does. It doesn't stop you all at once. It delays you slowly, one small postponement at a time, until the accumulation of all those small delays has quietly stolen months, years, and sometimes decades from your one irreplaceable life. Success is not built on intention. It is built on execution. You can spend an entire lifetime having brilliant ideas, detailed plans, and genuine desire to change, and if none of it is ever executed, none of it matters. The world does not reward the best intentions. It rewards the best actions. Now hear this, because it is one of the most liberating truths you will ever encounter. You will rarely feel ready. Read that again. Rarely will you feel fully confident. Rarely will everything align perfectly. Rarely will the timing feel just right, the resources feel sufficient, the conditions feel ideal. And if you wait for that moment, if you hold your dreams hostage until the universe arranges itself to your satisfaction, you may wait forever. Because readiness is not a feeling. It is not something that arrives before you begin. It is something you build by beginning. You do not feel ready and then act. You act and then become ready. Confidence is not the prerequisite for action, it is the product of it. Every expert you admire was once a beginner who had no idea what they were doing. Every person you look up to was once uncertain, unqualified, and afraid. But they started anyway. Not because the fear disappeared, but because they decided the dream mattered more than the fear. And in that decision, everything changed. So ask yourself right now, honestly, without defense, what are you waiting for? The perfect time? It is not coming. The perfect mood? It fluctuates and always will. The perfect conditions? They do not exist. But your life, your one, irreplaceable, unrepeatable life, is happening right now. Not in some future version of the calendar. Right now. And every single day you delay is a day you cannot reclaim. A year from now, you will either be living the results of the actions you took today, or mourning the results of the actions you didn't. The choice, as always, belongs to you. Everything we have talked about, the discipline, the daily habits, the courage to begin before you feel ready, it all points towards something deeper than just getting things done. It points toward identity. Because there is a profound difference between someone who occasionally takes action and someone who is a person of action. One performs. The other is. And that difference, subtle as it sounds, is the difference between a life that occasionally produces results and a life that consistently produces transformation. Here is how identity is built. Every time you act when it's uncomfortable, you send yourself a message. I am someone who follows through. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you send yourself a message. I am someone who keeps commitments. Every time you do the work when no one is watching, you send yourself a message. I am someone who can be trusted. Especially by myself. And those messages compound. They layer. They become the story you tell yourself about who you are. And the story you tell yourself about who you are determines everything. Every choice you make, every risk you take, every opportunity you pursue or avoid. You don't need a new plan. You need a new identity. An identity forged not through words or wishes, but through the daily, quiet, unglamorous act of doing. This is why transformation is not an event. It is a process. A daily process. A repeated process. And it does not require perfection, it requires persistence. There will be days you fall short. Days you miss the mark. Days the old habits pull harder than the new ones. That is not failure. That is the process. The only true failure is the permanent surrender, the decision to stop trying altogether. Every other stumble is simply a part of becoming. So push yourself. Not dramatically. Not in some grand, exhausting effort that burns out after 2 weeks. Push yourself consistently, in the small moments, the daily choices, the invisible disciplines that build the visible life. Wake up and choose action. Choose it again after lunch. Choose it again in the evening when comfort calls louder than purpose. Choose it again tomorrow. And one day, not in a single dramatic moment, but gradually, unmistakably, you will look at your life and realize, this is different. I am different. Not because something happened to you, but because of what you chose to do, day after day, when it was hard, when no one was watching, when the only reason you kept going was that you had decided your future was worth it. This is not the end of a speech. This is the beginning of a decision. Everything you have heard, every word, every idea, every challenge, means absolutely nothing if it stays in your mind. Knowledge is only powerful when it moves through your hands, your feet, your daily choices. So let this be the moment. Not someday. Not after you've thought about it a little longer. Now. Take the step you've been postponing. Start the project you've been delaying. Make the commitment you've been avoiding. Do the one thing you already know you should be doing. Not perfectly. Not confidently. Not with all the answers in place. Just begin. Because the life you want is not waiting for the right moment. It is waiting for your decision to move. Your future is not a destination you arrive at. It is a person you become, built one action at a time, one day at a time, one courageous choice at a time. And that person is already inside you. They always have been. Now go and become them.